Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Smart and Safe Small Business Podcast. I am here with Danny Carlson from KenjiROI, hailing from Bali, other side of the planet. So thank you, Danny, for waking up so early to join me this morning. Danny Carlson is an Amazon FBA entrepreneur specializing in PPC management and listing optimization. He founded the Amazon seller agency KenjiROI in 2016 and has grown it to more than 10 team members. KenjiROI has served over 600 Amazon sellers with product photography, video, copywriting, Amazon SEO, and Amazon PPC management services, and has produced over 1,300 Amazon product listings. That is a lot. Danny is also the host of the Actualize Freedom podcast and the Danny Carlson podcast, completing more than 75 interviews with names like Daniel DiPiazza, make sure I say that name right, Steve Sims, Manny Coates, and Kevin King. Residing in Bali, his time off is spent training hand-to-hand acrobatics, ripping sport motorcycles, and speaking at business events. So thanks for joining me today, Danny.
Oh, thank you for having me on here. You make me sound really cool.
Yeah, well, I wish I could say I wrote that impressive bio, but very, very, very cool that you're doing acrobatics out there. So let's dive in. We've got 8 minutes, and the first question is, who is your ideal client? Who do you work with predominantly?
So we work predominantly with brands that either are or want to sell their products on the Amazon Marketplace. We only serve in the Amazon Marketplace, like no other e-commerce marketplace.
And do you work with US clients, international clients?
It's really all over the map. Predominantly, it is brands that are selling into the United States, sometimes the European marketplaces as well. But these clients, like randomly, we got a bump of clients from Vietnam last year that just sell into the United States, which you wouldn't expect. Most of them are American, but there's people from like South Africa and all the European countries as well.
And tell me, what is one specific problem that you help your clients solve?
So the most specific one is with the listing optimization and creation. So we create all of the assets that our clients need in order to sell their products on Amazon. So just all of the things that are on the listing, the product photography, the A+ content, the description with the keywords and everything like that. We just produce that for our clients that don't have the time or the expertise to create it for themselves.
And what is a typical symptom for businesses that are having problems with their listings? What sort of things are they experiencing before they come to you?
So if they already have their listings up on Amazon, this is kind of case study number one, then they would be experiencing low conversion rate. Maybe their sales are just not really working too well. Like their pricing and everything else looks good. But then you take a look at their listing and their photos, they have like 3 photos. They're not filling out all their photo slots. They clearly are not putting in the right keywords and everything like that. So it's kind of a triage, just like comparing their listing to the competition. One, is it as appealing as the competition? So the conversion rate would be lower in that case. And 2, do they have the right keywords in the listing to show up good for Amazon's algorithm? And as I'm about to get into probably later in the conversation, 3, key information optimization. Is that super key information that your customers need to see in order to click on your product and buy your product? Is that prominently and clearly displayed in your listing?
And I would imagine some of these issues, they could be relatively quick and simple fixes and could create thousands and thousands of dollars for a business. Is that true?
Oh, absolutely. So there's an example of maybe a more technical product that maybe this technical product only works as an accessory for, Toyota model X3. I don't know, that's probably not even a real model, but like no one's going to click on that product if they don't know that it's for a Toyota X3 because they are looking specifically only for their model of car, right? They don't even want to bother with other things. So if you're not making that one really key piece of information abundantly clear in the title, then no one will ever know that because on the search results page, you only see the product title and the main image. So those are the 2 pieces of information you really have to over optimize for that key information.
And what are some common mistakes that Amazon sellers are making when they try to optimize their listing on their own?
I mean, so there is a ton of different mistakes, but I would say probably the number one biggest one is not paying enough attention to the images. So the images are potentially very expensive to get really high quality images done, right? Some people pay, $1,000 plus to get really good images done. And so that's where people try to cut the corners and do it themselves. But the images are actually the most important area for the conversion rate of your listing, the percentage of customers that are going to buy your product. So if you are cutting corners on there, that is like the number one kiss of death you can have to your listing. Because let's give the example of using Amazon ads. Just say you're spending $5,000 per month on Amazon ads, and because your images are not as good as they could be, your conversion rate is 5% lower. Then you are just throwing 5% of that $5,000 in the toilet, basically. Even more if you really do the math on that. So really optimizing your listings, like if you're not a professional photographer, then finding someone who is a professional photographer to work with to really create those compelling images that show not only your product in a good light, but show the really key pieces of your product that a customer needs in order to buy it.
Yeah, isn't that fascinating? Just one image change could bump up your conversion rate maybe from 1% to 1.5%, but that might be all it takes in order to skyrocket your e-commerce business and take it to the next level. So what is one valuable free action that Amazon sellers can implement that will help them optimize their listing? Something they can do maybe today?
Yeah, so there is one single optimization on a listing that by far is the 80-20 of it. It's more of the 95-5, the 5% that will give you 95% of the benefit. So that's optimizing your main image. I mentioned earlier that that's really the only image that shoppers are going to see on the search results pages. If you're running ads, they're only going to see that. And on competitor listings, there's 27 competitor products on all of your Amazon listings because Amazon just wants your customers to click off to whichever one they're most likely to buy. And that's the image they're going to see. So if you're not really optimizing that main image, then your click-through rate is going to go way down. So the less people that click on your product, less people have the potential to buy your product, right? So really optimizing that image, you can very easily, one quick hack I like to do to see which main image is going to work best is when you're photographing the product, take the product from multiple different angles. Make sure it's got really good lighting and everything like that. But if there's, let's say there's 3 components to your product, take individual pictures of those 3 components at the same angle and take 3 pictures of them from a different angle. And then later in Photoshop, you can create as many different variations as you want by dragging and dropping them around. You can send them off to a company like Clipping Path India and get a graphic reflection effect added onto them and the background removed. So it's pure white background with a really nice graphic reflection effect. And then just play around with it until it looks the most appealing thing ever. And then you can go a step further and you can use a service like PickFu to split test the images that you created against your competitors. Just take all your competitors' main images and then ask the PickFu audience, all of the US survey respondents, which one they would click on and why. And then you can tweak it and make it even better based on their feedback. So that's the level that I would go to. And it's a relatively small thing that you can do to have a really huge impact on your Amazon listings.
That's great. I didn't even know that Amazon sellers were using these third-party services to sort of pre-test their photos before they even went into the listing. So pretty cool strategy there. So next question is, what's one valuable free resource that you can direct Amazon sellers to that will further help them with their listings?
So I've been talking about a little bit of the concepts from this resource before, but I've been spending really the last 4 years crafting this methodology. I call it the triple optimize Amazon listing methodology. And it's taken the 4 years and the 1,300 plus listings to really arrive to these 3 core things as the most valuable things you need to be focusing on to create truly optimized listings. So I've created a blog post called the triple optimize Amazon listing on the KenjiROI blog. We'll be sure to get that link for you guys in the show notes. But it's essentially just outlining the 3 essential pieces of every super optimized Amazon listing. And they're not the obvious things that you would think. And a lot of people are getting at least one of them completely wrong. So that's the triple optimized Amazon listing methodology on KenjiROI's blog.
We will make sure to have that link in the show notes for listeners. So last question here, what's one question that I should have asked you that would give great value to the audience and also the answer?
Yeah, one question that you should have asked me. Yeah, it's very interesting. I think you should have asked me what the future of e-commerce is right now on Amazon, because a lot of Amazon sellers are kind of freaking out when it comes to the future. And we've even had a few clients that their sales have been going up. They had like 30% increase in their sales. and they
Hmm.
still cut down the spend with us. They like cut down the amount of services that they're doing with us, just stating that like, hey, we just want to see how this plays out. So there's a lot of real scarcity mindset going on right now. And I think my answer to the question, like what is going to be happening on Amazon, there probably is going to be another period of uncertainty. Amazon is facing a lot of issues, like there's still items shipping like more than a week out, or some a couple weeks out still. That's getting better. Also, there is a big planned walkout of Amazon warehouse employees that might just really disrupt things for a while, because they're concerned with the conditions in COVID, and that is dangerous and stuff, right? And there's going to continue to be that for the next couple months, like surely. But in the meantime, the sales in general in e-commerce and on Amazon have gone massively, massively up. They wouldn't be hiring 100,000 new employees if that wasn't the case. And just think about it. If everyone is in quarantine, the sales in general are going to be going way up from brand new e-commerce shoppers making their first purchases. And it's 100% certain that a very large percentage of those new e-commerce shoppers are going to be regular e-commerce shoppers from now on. So the market just got a lot bigger. And if you can just really like not operate from that scarcity mindset over the next months, and especially throughout the later parts of the year, then those are the brands that are really going to win and take the market share and really move forward in 2020 and 2021.
I absolutely agree with you. No matter what industry, no matter what business you're in right now, the only thing you can do is have an attitude of growth. And that's the only attitude that's going to win and serve you. Probably no matter what environment we're in, coronavirus or not, that's probably the winning attitude. But right now, especially having a positive outlook for the future. And we're seeing the same thing on our end with our clients as well. So many of them are doing better than ever. And there's a reason why Amazon's stock price has been going up, 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 up over the last few weeks. So thank you for your insight, Danny. Learned a lot from you. For those of you that are interested in learning about Danny's services, KenjiROI.com, and then we're also going to have the link to that resource in the show notes. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. That was great.